So, today we are going to talk about anxiety versus calmness. I'm sure, guys, none of us want to be anxious. Where does this anxiety stem from? One, our need to control everything around us. Second, we want everything to go perfect. Our children to go grow into perfect human beings, to have perfect partners, perfect jobs, perfect salaries, everything perfect. Third, most of us do not like change. So if there is any change that happens that causes anxiety, but if you happen to read something to do with Bhagavad Gita or in general about Vedas, because that's something that my interest lies in, apart from being a clinical psychologist, I do end up reading a lot of these. They say, well, the basic principle of this world is change. There is nothing stable. So, therefore, some amount of anxiety will be there if you guys do not allow or not very open or welcoming to accept this change. Fourth major source of anxiety is the sense of attachments that we carry. Attachments in terms of positive attachments with respect to people or relationships that we carry, sometimes negative attachments in terms of anger, frustration, revenge that we wish to take from few people that we do not like in our life. Anxiety also stems from n number of situations where I don't know what will happen, the fear of unknown. Another major source of anxiety stems when I feel I do not have the right skills. I don't know what will I do. Probably I don't have solutions to a lot of problems that I think I might encounter. Another is apprehensions, and I'm sure you and I can relate to it. We all end up thinking, making beautiful, Karan Johar stories in our head, or some Bollywood, Hollywood stories in our head. Oh, this will happen, that will happen. Oh, then what, then what, then what? And unnecessarily, we end up assuming so much before even knowing what is there. So we end up lopsidedly looking at things, which adds to our anxiety. So I'm sure, guys, there are the list of reasons that lead to anxiety is endless. And all of us, you and I, do experience anxiety at different times. Now, that brings me to two very basic questions. Is anxiety bad? Is my first question. Second, what is the difference between normal anxiety and anxiety for which I must seek help? So, some degree of anxiety is needed to push us. If you were not anxious for your first job interview, you would not have prepared well for it. If you're not anxious for a promotion in your life, I don't think you will rub that extra bit or put that extra hour in your at your workplace, right? So, guys, anxiety is not bad. Secondly, I'm sorry, but being very, very upfront, there is no way you can have an anxiety free world or an anxiety free life. It is as much a part of you as is your breath, the blood that flows in. So we need to learn to deal with this anxiety and not run away from it. Now, what is so called normal anxiety and what is abnormal anxiety? That was my second question. Guys, in anxiety, having a little headache, having a little breathlessness, feeling very anxious, not being able to sleep, always thinking, okay, what's going to happen next, what's going to happen next. This is all normal. We all go through these phases once in a while or several times in our lifetime, but they don't last beyond a certain point. So what is it that makes it so called abnormal, or maybe wants us to, now I need to speak to someone to deal with my anxiety? One characteristic feature is, if your anxiety makes you dysfunctional for a longer period of time, say maybe few days to weeks, months altogether, but you just can't concentrate here, you just can't focus, you have the potential, you have the caliber, you can perform well, but your anxiety just doesn't allow the best of you to come forward, so it makes you more dysfunctional. The second is severity. If your anxiety is severe enough that you have almost like a panic attack. Now, what is a panic attack, guys? If you feel that your breathlessness increases or reaches its peaks in less than 10 minutes, or you feel as if you're going to go mad, cuckoos, you find it difficult to breathe, there is a severe palpitation, there is sweating all around, breathing becomes a difficult task for you, or you feel that, I'm just going to have a heart attack, I'm going to lose it, I've just lost it altogether. This feature, if it is so severe, means you need help. Third, if your anxiety makes you procrastinate beyond a certain point, CK, making stories in mind once in a while is fine, but if it becomes a way of your life, if it makes you delay most of your plans, you take so long to act, and it's only planning, 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 planning that is going on. then you need help. Anxiety is also known to be very closely related to sad mood, irritability, and sometimes even depression. So if you feel that your anxiety doesn't allow you to be happy, you normally remain little sullen, morose, not very happy, nothing seems to bring that joy in your life, you need help. If your anxiety becomes so pathetic that it leads to insomnia, you feel that it's difficult for you to sleep at night. Most of the time you're awake and you just can't function, or it leads to some kind of bodily issues, say ulcers, digestive problems, lot of indigestion issues, or even sometimes irritable bowel syndrome. That's another syndrome that is related to anxiety, where there's a frequent need to go to the washroom. Frequent need. Any amount of pressure just loses the bowels at that point. Then you need help. Anxiety can also take multiple forms in terms of social anxiety. So if you think maybe one to one I can talk, but if I have to give a presentation in my office or have to, be in a group meeting, it just takes everything out from me. That means I feel severe social anxiety that I avoid social settings, which is another feature. So, if anxiety makes you avoid anything in life, be it social settings, situations where you wish to run away rather than deal with things, then probably you need help. There's something called anxious personality. I'm sure when I give you an example, you relate it better. You must have seen there are some people who are always anxious. They are anxious about the fact that today there's nothing to worry about. Or they are so anxious because they continuously think, oh, everything is going well. That means something wrong is soon going to happen. They have that pessimistic kind of a thinking style, or they're usually always living on the edge. Even these guys need help, guys, because this kind of a personality type is associated with n number of physical and mental concerns. I mean, that's needless to say. Now, how do we shift or make this transition from being an anxious self to a more calmer self, guys? I think the step number one would be to understand anxiety is a part of me. So I don't have to run away. Secondly, I need to learn to develop the skill where I change or channelize this anxiety from being dysfunctional to functional. Now, what do I mean by that? See, some degree of anxiety we all face, okay? But my anxiety becomes dysfunctional when I'm only doing the churchur part of it. When I'm only procrastinating, oh, this will go wrong, oh, that will go wrong, oh, this will happen, oh, that will happen. So when I'm feeding a lot of negative stuff to myself, what is the solution that I have? And for that, it is always advisable that you sit with a piece of paper and pen down here what is causing me so much problem. Let's engage with our anxiety, because we normally avoid it either by smoking, by drinking, just avoiding doing the task or whatever. None of these are healthy coping ways of dealing with anxiety. So what is the solutions that I have to work with my anxiety? So instead of only fretting what can happen, let me look at solutions. So if you have a more solution focused approach, your anxieties are going to be more calmer. We move next, guys. The another thing is, be very watchful of what you feed yourself. I'm sure all of you must have seen that movie All Is Well, that Amir Khan movie. Now, what is it all about? Or even Munna Bhai in that case. I mean, at least for the audience that does see Indian movies, they say that what you feed yourself, your brain responds better to it. So if you keep telling yourself, oh, something will go wrong, oh, I'm useless, oh, life is pathetic. No, I know if something wrong has to happen, it has to happen to me only. So if you're feeding all this, you're always going to be anxious. So if you want to shift to a calmer self, try and monitor your thoughts. Replace them with something that is more meaningful, something that is more solution focused, as I said, and something that's more reassuring than something that adds to your anxiety. Next, another important thing is, comes to terms that your life will not go the way you want. You can obviously prepare better, you can obviously do the best that you can, but there will always be a last minute glitch that can always happen no matter what. And that's all right. So get out of this illness called perfection. Yes, I'm sorry, and I repeat myself and I mean what I say. Being perfect is actually an illness because perfection does not exist. Yes, trying your level best is what works more. So you don't have to be too perfect, because when you try to be too perfect, you're trying to control everything, and your focus is more on what may not go wrong than what is the best that I can do. And that's when it keeps us more anxious and on our toes. Another thing is, guys, you need to understand that change is inevitable. So if you're someone who resists any degree of change, you're going to feel more useless, guys. You'll be more anxious. But if you believe that no matter what comes, it is the perspective with which you see, if you look at it as an opportunity to grow further, I think then there is nothing to worry about. And that is why we say that there is nothing called a failure in life. There are no failures. Even in a situation where you don't perform well, yeah, you'll either have an experience or you learn something out of it, which will help you do even better in the next future. But it is the perspective that we carry, and we make a lot of simple situations into do die settings. Either you're surviving, or there's a catastrophe at the end. And that's what makes things more anxious for us, guys. So get out of this mindset. That's another thing that you can do. Next is, try and be more open to feedback. Sometimes, usually people who are more anxious are the ones who do not trust themselves, who don't have an internal locus of control. That means, okay, let me make it very simple. You'll see there are two kinds of people. One person will say, okay, no matter what comes, we'll figure out. Yeah, there's always a way, and I think I trust my abilities. We'll find some way or the other. And there's second type of people who'll say, oh, I don't know, if the luck is fine, if the God is on my side, if things are all well, maybe things may go well. Others, I really don't know, what will I do? So these are people, the second type of people do not trust their own selves as much as the first ones do. And that is why the first category people are less anxious. They're more comfortable. And even if there is something that comes unexpected, they still have that sense of faith that no matter what, yeah, we will figure out something and we will be able to deal with that setting at hand. So I think that is a belief system that we all need to carry. So if you really want to be more calmer, the next step is face all your fears and worries. You just can't avoid things. The more you avoid, the more it harasses you. And that is why in psychology, we very frequently use this term: what resists persists. So more you resist something, the more it's going to persist, guys. I hope these tips really, really help. And somewhere, deep down, your belief systems make a difference. So if you're someone who believes, like, I'll share one belief system with you guys. This is something that I really, really work and live on. I strongly believe nothing in this world occurs because it's going to cause any damage to me in any form. In fact, everything in this world is happening for me. So if there are some people who are nice to me, I learn something from them. If there are some people who are very nasty, bitter, rude, or I go through so called not so positive areas of my life, well, these are the areas that give me an opportunity to see how strong I am or what I can learn from life. Therefore, there is technically nothing to fear. And to conclude, I'll tell you one more secret that I often do. It doesn't make a difference here, even if you're a psychologist or if you're not. You are an ordinary human being, so you have your own share of hassles too. So there are share of hassles that I as a person may also be having in my own life. So often when I come across a problem that makes me anxious, the first question that I ask myself is, all right, can I do something about it? If yes, then let's do it. If I really can't, then shut up, have that faith that whatever will come, let's see what we can do with whatever I have in my life. Sometimes seeking support, engaging in something relaxing, or even talking your heart out really, really helps. It helps you look at that situation from a different perspective, and that may offer you even a better solution. When you hit the bottom of pain, you bounce back with pearls of wisdom. Absolutely, yeah. And technically, when you reach that stage in life, when you have nothing to lose, and not even a chavanni bhar ka desire, not even a infinite desire to have anything, because you realize that everything is right inside you. This breath that you're taking, this particular moment that we guys are sharing, is a reality. You can't change your past, you can't do anything about your future. So why not focus on the present and do the best that you can, guys? If you're more mindful of your present, I'm sure there's nothing much to worry about, yeah. Because time and world keeps changing. If you plan right now something, maybe when that time comes, the situation may be entirely different. So do plan, have broader plans, but don't micromanage everything. That will give you more flexibility to deal with settings. I'll share one more thing, guys. Almost a year back, I was suffering from cancer. I mean, I was at a stage where I would have had cancer. Something happened in my life. Very, very traumatic. Very, very traumatic. And it came from someone in my life whom I never thought could ever be so nasty, someone who meant so much to me. And one thing that that man taught me in my life was, and I'll just say it with a quote, what I thought that this person had left me with a box of darkness at one point, now, an year later, makes me realize that that too was a gift. So when something doesn't go your way, I repeat what I said. Once I felt that the man that I loved the most left me with a box that was filled with darkness. But today, I'm glad to realize that box too was a gift. By that I mean, the more you try and crib, the more you try and control or change people, the more anxious you're going to be. The more you're willing to take life as it comes, the more you're willing to accept each challenge, the more you're willing to look for solutions in your life, guys, the more calmer, the more positive, the more peaceful you're going to be. And it is only this that helped me heal a state very close to cancer, to the extent that almost a month back, when my doctors did that scan, they refused to believe that there was ever anything inside my body. And it does work. So there's a lot that your mind can do, guys, to yourself. So it is a choice that you make. So in one line, which would be my concluding line, would be, if you really want to be a calmer self, have faith in yourself, engage with yourself, try and overcome all fears, insecurities that you carry, and remember, nothing in this world is against you. Everything that happens for you. Even the people who are nasty or try to cut you down, they still can't dare. Let them do what they're doing. You continue to work on your journey, focus yourself, and live your life to the best. Yeah, nobody in this world, damn it, can ever have the right to take away that smile from you. That is absolutely yours. To keep it or to live it the way you want is a choice that you have, guys. Exercise your right choice. Thank you so much for this time, guys. It was lovely talking to all of you. Thank you.